2001 Jaguar XJ8. I bought this at a surplus auction in a town called Woodbridge, New Jersey, about 3 hours north from here, right across the river from New York City. This thing was a confiscated car. The auction had about 70 vehicles or so. Most of them were smashed up, destroyed. One was underwater before, one was on fire previously. A handful of the cars were not smashed up. They were cosmetically like this one, very similar. And they were in good condition, at least in photos. The auction was sight unseen. You weren't allowed on the auction lot. All you could do is go by the 7 grainy photos and the VIN number. I took that VIN, I ran a Carfax, and everything looked pretty good on the Carfax. The car cost me $725, another $35 in fees. I had it delivered here within a few days and that cost nothing. So I had $760 wrapped up in this car. Cosmetically, the car was exactly as I expected, exactly like those 7 photos showed. There was nothing surprising about it. However, once the car got here, I discovered that the brake pedal sunk down to the floor, so there was no brake pressure. You know, that's a minor thing, I'm not worried about that. But the big issue was the engine. The engine was locked up, it was seized. Something with the timing chain being jammed inside the cover made a terrible grinding noise, metal on metal. I believe they're interference engines too, so the number of problems that I was going to incur with this thing started skyrocketing exponentially. So if you remember from the clean out video I did on this car, I found 122 bottles stuffed in the interior of this car, a disgusting mess. I also found almost $47 in loose change as well, and some pocket knives and spray paint and a bunch of other things as well. The most interesting thing I found in the car though wasn't the bottles or the loose change, it was a class ring from 60, 70 years ago and 3 pendants. I was able to track down the previous owner of the car and his address, and I mailed those items back to him, figuring that they were special and sentimental to him. He in turn sent a follow-up letter sharing the importance and the significance of those items that I returned, so that was pretty cool. So I've had this car for 5 months now, since buying it on November 14th. It's a body style I always adored, and I really wanted to save it. However, with the trashed engine and the brakes, it just wasn't worthwhile. I came up with 5 options, if you remember these from the previous video. And what I ended up doing is, item number 1, I'm scrapping the car. So I called a bunch of scrap yards, they came out, took a look at it, they like it. They gave me a lot of really good offers, all the way up to $650 for this thing. So that means I'm short, you know, $110 or so. Not a problem. I'm not too worried about $110 for the learning experience of this. But I also decided to put an ad out on some classified ads offering the car out for parts, and some people took me up. One person wanted the inside rear view mirror, another person wanted the wiring harness inside the cabin, and so I made a few bucks on that. Now here's what the interior looks like on this car now, since having to pull out that wiring harness out of the cabin. I had to pull every single piece out of the interior, top to bottom, floor, carpet, center console, everything. So I'm about to break even on the car, and I'm thrilled with that. I really am. I didn't expect to be able to do that, and I'm happy with the situation right now. However, each of the recyclers insist on getting the title for the car too. And I never got the title when I got the car from the Woodbridge Township. Now what they did send me was the paperwork to apply for a title, and I sent that into the state of New Jersey, but with the coronavirus, nothing's happening. Everything's at a standstill, and the car is still here 2 months after some of the offers that I'd gotten from the recyclers. And it really pains me to have to send this to the scrapyard. But the real problem though is that without the title, all I'm getting for offers right now is $350. And so I'm right back to square one, where I'm about to lose a bunch of money on the car. But again, it's a learning experience, I understand that. And it was a risk that I was willing to take for being able to have the opportunity to buy a nice car for a decent price. So I'm at the place now where I'm about to give it another month for the DMV in New Jersey to be able to step up and get me a title in the mail. I've been hoping and praying and getting my fingers crossed that it's going to arrive any day, and every time I'm checking the mailbox, it's not there yet. And that title is worth $300, $350 to me, so it's important, but I'm also tired of having this thing sitting in the same spot month after month after month. One more month's going to make it 6 months, and that's going to be about my breaking point. So this thing has to go. Ironically though, the scrapper who came in and looked at this car with the $650 offer, they all said the same thing. They don't care what the condition of the car is. They don't care if it's smashed up, banged up, caught on fire. What they want is the scrap metal. They want the aluminum and the wheels. They want the battery. That's all they're looking for. They told me, go ahead and push the car off a cliff if you could. They don't care. Make a video of it and try to get some money back from the YouTube video. Unfortunately though, Delaware, there's no cliffs. It's flat like a pancake here. And I'd love to do something fun or creative with it. I don't know what it would be. I don't know how to recoup some of that money. I want the car gone, but I also want to make something fun out of it at the same time. So if you have any ideas, suggestions that's realistic and reasonable and not irresponsible, no one's going to get hurt at, and I'm going to pollute the ground, or it's not going to be like burying a car underground like Hoovie, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. Give me some ideas, something that you think of that might work, that might be fun, and maybe we can fit it in the next video. Otherwise, I'm done, and I'll catch you tomorrow.